So today you'll be learning about Renin Angiotensin Aldosterone system. The first thing you need to know about the RAAS system is that it is involved in maintaining the blood pressure in the body. So the first thing that comes into mind when anyone says RAAS to you is you need to know about juxtaglomerular apparatus, that is the JG apparatus that is present in the kidneys. The JG apparatus is composed of two types of cells, the JG cells and the macula densa cells. The macula densa cells, they are present in the distal tubules. They detect the sodium delivery that is present in the distal tubule. These macula densa cells then send signals to the JG cells. The JG cells, these are present in the just before the efferent arterioles that enters into the glomerulus, that is at the entry point of the glomerulus. These JG cells are the modified smooth muscle cells that monitor the blood pressure. What it does is that it monitors the renal perfusion pressure, which in turn measures the blood pressure. This JG cells, it's stimulated by decrease in blood pressure. That is, if there is decrease in blood pressure, then these JG cells get stimulated. They secrete an enzyme called renin. We'll talk about renin a little bit later. Then these are also stimulated by the sympathetic nervous system. That is, it is innervated by sympathetic nerves and via beta 2 noradrenergic systems these cells get stimulated. And we have already talked that macula densa cells also give signals to the cells. So these JG cells, they are involved in production of renin. It is an enzyme that gets released that cleaves the angiotensinogen protein that is present in the circulating blood. This angiotensinogen is produced from liver. It is an alpha-2 globulin protein that is produced from the liver. This angiotensinogen is converted by renin into angiotensin 1. Okay, then this angiotensin 1 gets converted by angiotensin converting enzyme, the ACE, that is present mainly in the endothelial cells of the pulmonary vessels. Then this angiotensin 1 gets converted into angiotensin 2. This angiotensin 2 is the one of the main hormones of this RAAS system. This angiotensin 2 basically does three major functions. First of all, it stimulates the aldosterone release from the zona glomerulosa of the adrenal cortex. Alright, the second thing it does is this angiotensin 2 directly causes arterial vasoconstriction. Alright, and then third thing it does is that this angiotensin 2 increases the sodium reabsorption from the proximal tubules. Keep in mind the proximal tubules. The first thing, that is, angiotensin 2 will release aldosterone. This aldosterone basically does three things. It acts on the collecting ducts. As you might know that there are two types of cells in the collecting duct, principal cells and the intercalated cells. This angiotensin 2, when it acts on the principal cells, it stimulates the sodium potassium ATPase, and it also causes increased production of a channel known as epithelial sodium channels, ENaC channels, that causes sodium entry into the principal cells and ultimately into the blood, and while in the process it secretes potassium. And this aldosterone, when it acts in the intercalated cells, it acts on this hydrogen ATPase that secretes hydrogen, and this secretion of hydrogen will cause HCO3 production, bicarbonate production, which is transferred into the blood. So it metabolically it causes alkalosis. And the next thing I said was this angiotensin 2, it causes vasoconstriction. Alright, and the next thing it does is it increases the sodium reabsorption from the proximal tubules. In the proximal tubules there are channels known as sodium potassium ATPase on the basolateral membrane of the proximal tubular cells, and it stimulates that channel. That causes increased concentration gradient of the sodium, that causes increased sodium reabsorption into the cells. So yeah, so in a way this RAAS system controls the blood pressure. That means if there is decrease in blood pressure, if there is increased stimulation of sympathetic nervous system, or there is decrease in sodium delivery to the macula densa cells, it stimulates renin system, it increases angiotensin 2, it increases aldosterone, and it increases sodium and water reabsorption. In a way, this RAAS system will maintain the blood pressure via two mechanisms. As we know that mean arterial pressure is equals to cardiac output times total peripheral resistance, right? So this angiotensin 2 will increase the total peripheral resistance, first thing, and the second thing, it will increase the cardiac output by increasing the preload. That is, it increases the extracellular fluid volume from all these sodium and water retention, reabsorption I should say. So yeah, it will increase the blood pressure. So in an volume depleted states, like when there is loss of volume, loss of ECF volume, it will cause increase in blood pressure. Alright, so this is renin angiotensin 2, renin angiotensin aldosterone system.